And remember, if you're not speaking, try and mute your phone. We are getting some feedback this time. We're now going to be moving into closed session to discuss Resolution R20-114. I expect the closed session to last 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So I would ask everybody, can they stay in the webinar or whatever, WebEx, Chrissy, or do they have to go out and come back in?
What I would recommend is that all of the council members mute their microphones and video, and I'm actually going to relocate to the conference room for the closed session.
And so we're going to be gone 20 minutes. If we're going to be longer, I'll stop back in 20 minutes. We'll come and give you a further estimate. So thanks, Chrissy. Council members, mute.
We need to approve the resolution before we can go into closed.
Oh,
Thank you, Mrs. Clipperton.
good job. Yeah. So
Also,
go ahead.
Mr. Council President, I just want to be recognized real quick.
What?
You haven't completed the open public meeting requirements for closed session.
Okay. Yep. So can we have a motion for the resolution R20-114?
You still haven't completed what you need, though, Council President.
What do I need, Ms. Clipperton?
Mr. Kelly, what's your concern?
The concern is he has to make a mention of when this will be available to be open to the public of the minutes of this closed session.
Hold on a minute, Joe.
Yep.
It's under 10:4-12.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, it's in the body of the resolution. Give me one moment.
I'll read it. Let me find it.
Joe, the resolution reads that we expect the closed session to last for about 45 minutes. Do you want to get a motion to amend the resolution to read 30?
It's not the, Ms. Clipperton?
Mr. Kelly?
It's not the length of how long the closed session is going to take place.
I understand your concern. However, Mr. Jackson did state that he expected the closed session to take 20 to 30 minutes, where the resolution states 45. So if you wanted,
Can I get a
and the
motion?
resolution,
Mrs. Clipperton, you're missing the point.
we're going to do both.
How many days it will be available for the public to review?
The minutes of the executive session shall be made available for disclosure to the public consistent with NJSA 10:4-13 when the items which are the subject of the closed discussion are resolved and the reason for confidentiality no longer exists, which at present is anticipated to be approximately 30 days or the next scheduled council meeting. In the event that for confidential reasons extends beyond that time, the public will be advised.
Thank you.
Yeah. Could I have a motion to change the wording on the meeting, the executive session, and only be 20 minutes?
So move.
Clerk, can you take the roll call?
Sure.
Amend the time.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes to the amendment or yes to the resolution?
To the
The
amendment.
amendment.
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Manny, you're muted.
Councilmember Friedlander? Do you want me to move on, Joe?
He's dialing into the closed door.
Yeah, move on.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes. 8 yeses, the motion carries. The notice is amended to read that we'll be in executive session for approximately 20 minutes. So now, could I get a motion for our 20?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Clerk, please take the call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Freelander?
Can move on.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes. That's 8 yeses, motion carries. We're now going to be going into executive session at 6:46 PM. We anticipate being back at 7:06 PM. If it's going to extend, did I do the math right? If it's going to be extend beyond that, we'll jump back in and tell you when we'll be back. So council members, if you could mute, turn off your video and
Do we call in now, Ms. Clipperton?
yes.
Yeah.
For the members of the public that are still on the call, we originally said we're going to be back by 7:06. We're going to need approximately 15 more minutes. So the plan is for us to be back at 7:20. So if everybody can unmute or come back in at 7:20, we will hope to be done then. If it's going to extend past 7:20, I will come back on this line and let everybody know. Sorry for the delay. This is Council President Jackson. Very sorry about the delay. We need another 10 minutes. I believe we will be back on by 7:30. I do not believe we will need to extend beyond that point. So plan on us being back on the WebEx at 7:30. Again, sorry for the delay.
And Joe, just a reminder that we roll call in the closed session.
Need to vote. When we get back on there, we're gonna do roll call.
Yeah, when we get back into the public meeting.
Yeah, you don't do it now. You do it when we go back.
Hey, Doug,
Yes.
how are you?
Hanging in there yourself.
Same thing, hanging in.
I'm ready whenever you are, Joe. Although
You can go.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
see Manny on the call-in list.
Let's give him a minute then. Give him 1 minute.
Mr. Friedlander, are you on?
You hear me, Christie?
Yes.
There we go. Go ahead, Chris. You can take the roll.
I need a motion and a second to close the,
Motion to get out of closed session?
Second,
I have Mr. Kelly and Mr. Sackett.
Correct.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn? Councilmember Friedlander?
yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. We're officially out of closed session and back into public session. Do you need to take the roll call or are we good now with that?
We're good.
Okay. Next is the approval of minutes. Are we still approving both minutes there that are listed there, Chrissy?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be approving May 26, 2020 regular meeting minutes and June 10th, 2020 special meeting minutes. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Who was that?
Jack Quinn.
I'm Friedlander.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. The minutes are approved. Next is open to the public. I'm going to start off with first, we did get an email from Brian Wittig. I'm looking at his address is on here. He's a Rockaway Township resident. I don't know his exact address, but so he has 2 questions. Number 1, and I'm just going to read them. When will the next Board of Assessment Commissioners meeting regarding Bowlbyville be held? Since the commissioners have been appointed on September 24, 2019, there have been exactly 2 meetings. Councilman Friedlander emailed me that binders were being put together 2 weeks ago and mentioned that he would take the idea of meeting virtually under advisement. So he's looking for a status update on this board and when they will start producing some results. And then his second question is, when will the Board of Assessment Commissioner members and mission be listed under, in quotes, boards and commissions on the town website so that all residents can be aware of the Bowlbyville issue? Right now, they are not being transparent. So I don't know, is that a question, Mr. Yachvana or Ms. Seeger, you'd like to handle?
Joe, I can actually update regarding the scheduling of the meeting.
Okay.
We are waiting on the final piece for, well, the final exhibit for the binders to be distributed to the board members. I expect to be polling the board members to schedule their next few meetings within the next week.
Okay. And about the website?
I don't see any issue with putting it up on the website, so I can speak with Dave Dyer tomorrow, to see if he can help me get that listed up there.
Perfect. Mrs. Seeger, do you know if there were any other questions received?
I do not see any other than that one.
Okay. Ms. Clipperton, is there any members of the public on the call that wish to ask a question?
There are, I'll put their names and I'll unmute them. I have Al Thomas. Would you like the opportunity to speak?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and
Mr. Thomas, if you could just give us your address, please.
yes, well, my address is 14 Lum Avenue in Chatham, New Jersey. I'm an employee of the Patriots Path Council of the Boy Scouts.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm attending tonight is we had sent in a request. We would like to get permission to use our portable BB range and archery range, which I can describe to you, for an event we want to hold in Party City's parking lot on Friday, August 14th. Party City has agreed to let us hold what we call Cub Scout Carnival. It will not include rides or anything like that. It's really just about a half dozen carnival games, ring toss, egg races. Our Boy Scout troops will set up a model campsite, and we'll have a little bouldering wall from our camp in at Mount Alamuchi. The portable ranges, the BB range I've used in many other towns. It's inflatable. It's from the Daisy Rifle Company, so it's got very sturdy walls, and it's about 30 feet long. The BBs cannot travel outside of the range. Any youth who wants to participate will be wearing safety glasses, and we always give safety instruction before anything else. That's actually one of the purposes of the event, is to teach safety, and no child could participate unless their parent was present and giving permission. The archery range is not in an inflatable enclosure, but it does have an archery net that we hang behind the targets so that the arrows cannot travel beyond. And we're mostly dealing with Cub Scout age children. That's first grade through fifth grade. So they only stand about 25 feet away from the target. We don't expect them to really be marksmen. It's just to give them some instruction in how to do archery. And of course, we begin that with safety instruction also, and all the necessary equipment of forearm guards and finger guards. So if there are any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to.
Mr. Thomas, this is Council President Jackson. So first of all, thank you for joining. We have reviewed this with administration. We are actually voting on a special events ordinance tonight, or a resolution for a special events ordinance for this event. So it's being discussed tonight, and we appreciate you joining.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have anything else?
Not for me. I should mention this is a one-time event, and we're doing it in Rockaway. We're actually doing it in 12 towns throughout our council during July and August. So that's in Sussex, Morris, Somerset, and Union counties. We picked Rockaway because while you have great packs and troops there, they could use the help with recruiting new members into scouting.
Thank you. And yes, we've, I think Rockaway's produced a bunch of Eagle Scouts over the past few years. So thank you for your time. And Ms. Clipperton, is there any next speaker? Next.
Caller user 11, would you like the opportunity to speak? Okay. Caller user 13, would you like the opportunity to speak? I have Jim Waters. Would you like the opportunity to speak? I have Lisa Ginder. Would you like the opportunity to speak?
Sure. I would just like to mention that this is the first time my husband and I have been to a town council meeting since moving into Rockaway Township about 3.5 years ago. And I was just a little disheartened to, like, first of all, come into a meeting that started with a closed session, but also, too, we overheard somebody say, I don't give a shit if we don't go back. And it just feels really inappropriate. So I guess welcome me to the meeting. I don't know.
No, I didn't hear that.
I was unable to hear that.
No.
That was at this meeting or a meeting prior?
No, this meeting, like in all the in-betweens of you guys trying to come back into this meeting.
I didn't hear it. I don't think anybody else did. Did you have anything else you wanted to discuss? And I'm sorry if you heard something like that.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Lisa, if you wouldn't mind just giving me your address for the record, please.
It's 136 Birch Street.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have Stephen Seth. Would you like the opportunity?
Well, all over the place. Okay, let's start with African American voters. That's the thing about the middle of the country.
Mute that caller. That's, yeah.
That's all I have, Joe.
Okay. So that's the open to the public section. Next, we're going to move to ordinances to introduce. We're going to start with O-20-13, an ordinance adding Chapter 30 entitled Special Events Permit to the Code of the Township of Rockaway. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do we want to have a little discussion on this?
Want to make a motion to have discussion? You can make a motion to have discussion. I don't think it's required, but
Required, but I mean, it's at your leniency. We just.
I'd like to discuss real quick too.
I'll allow 3 minutes of discussion.
Thanks, John, for chipping in there. Go ahead, you know what, Mr. Sackett, go first.
Thank you.
I could kind of not hear you, Jonathan. Can you speak into the microphone or?
Under section F of the permit fee, it says, fee for each one's of the special events permit shall be determined by the council by resolution. Are we going to be making a resolution for a fee tonight, or what's our plan?
I can't hear a word he's saying.
I can't either.
Me either.
An echo.
I can't hear a word he's saying.
Mute everybody.
There's all feedback.
Can you hear me now?
No, you're muting.
What was your question?
The question was,
Talking about the fees.
section F of the permit fee.
Go ahead, Carl. Carl, do you want to answer?
About the fees, can you hear me?
Yes.
He's talking about the fees because in the ordinance, it says that the council will establish fees on an annual basis by way of resolution. I wanted to know if you would be passing the resolution tonight. I would suggest that you wouldn't do something like that until after the ordinance passed, the second reading.
Okay. That's answered my question. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, did you have any questions or any discussion items?
Well, you know, when we were talking about with the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts that they were doing regarding this event that they're trying to do, and we have this ordinance that we're going to modify with special events, and it may fall into this category. The individual Mr. Thomas had also mentioned about the other municipalities in other counties that he has held an event of similarity. Perhaps maybe we should look at maybe some of those that are in Morris County to somewhat mirror. Maybe there's something we need to add or not add, insurance requirements, of course, what their average fees are to what the fees would be established by way of resolution. I just think there's a little bit more information that's needed, and especially from the circumstances that were just brought to us during the open to the public portion for Mr. Thomas.
Okay, thank you for your feedback. Anybody else have questions? Okay, can you take the roll?
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses, motion carries. Keep in mind, this ordinance is just being introduced, so if you do have further questions, feel free to forward them to administration. Next up is B O-20-14, an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Section 1.4A and B 2 of the Code of the Township of Rockaway. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Can you take the roll call?
Councilmember Kelly?
I'm going to abstain.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda.
I make a motion, Council President.
Absolutely.
Make a motion to remove F, H, I, L, and M for discussion. So that would be R20-106, R20-108, R20-109, R21-12, and R21-13.
Second.
Is that Mr. Friedlander?
No, Adam Sandberg.
Thank you, Adam. Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you didn't hold on one moment. R20-106, R20-108, R20-109, R20-112, and R21-13.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the other ones.
I have a second.
Well, hold on. We have 9 yeses on that motion. Motion carries.
Carries, yep.
Okay, so Joe, we're going to do a motion for the remaining items of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the other items.
I'll
C,
second.
D, E, G, J, K.
there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Kelly? Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses, so R20 101, R20 102, R20 103, R20 104, R20 105, R20 107, R20 110, and R20 111 all pass. It's 7:51. I'm going to limit discussion on these next items to 10 minutes.
On R106, my question is the amount of $287,000. This is Paul Mary with prior ordinances that we have for money that's been put aside for the water department. Is there an avenue that we can pull money out of there rather than borrow this money?
I don't believe there is, because we have 387,000. That money is spoken for in well 10 and ordinance.
Okay. So all the prior ordinance that we have, I thought it was a little over $1 million that we were setting aside for an improvement over by the A field, which maybe, I'm sorry?
They're not specific for well 10. That's the issue. It's for a specific purpose. We can't just use any ordinance that's in a water appropriation to use it for well 10.
We can't create another ordinance to move that money?
Create an ordinance? You mean, well, we would have to do it for, we would have to amend our capital budget. We would have to increase and create an ordinance for the specific purpose for well 10. So we have the monies available in existing ordinances. I don't know why we would create a second ordinance to accommodate this.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't know if it was money that we had bonded that we were borrowing, if it was already money that we had aside from something years prior that we could have used those funds.
This is an existing ordinance that is included for well 10, and that's where this money will be charged.
Okay. On R20 108, number H, and R20 109, is there, with this...
Mr. Kelly, before we move on to the other resolutions, do we have any further discussion on R20 106?
I don't. I just thought Mr. Jackson was only giving me 10 minutes to go through all of these.
Joe, if we could have discussion and then vote on the individual resolutions just to keep the minutes, appreciate it.
Sure. Yep, so can we vote on R20 106? Is that what you want to do, Chrissy?
Yes, please.
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon? Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. R20 106 carries. So Mr. Kelly, continue at R20 108 and R20 109.
I'm going to combine the two of them together, even though one's for an SRO and one's for a Class 3. I think the question is pretty simple. You know, going into the new year, I've talked to other teachers and those of administration, not knowing really what we're going to be entailing come September. Has there been any discussions with the school? Like, schools have been closed. I believe our SRO has been back into Rockaway, the police themselves, and our Class 3s. I have seen some up at the school in the parking lot outside, but has there been like a discount or refund? Money's that's not being used, services haven't been used? Hello?
I don't know if Ms. Seeger or Ms. Palmieri, if either one of you can answer that, or...
The Class 3s have been working, and their last day is June 30th. The school we don't pay their salary, the school is, and they are paying it.
Even
They
though
are,
that
they are working. They are working every day. They go to work.
even the SRO?
The SRO, I don't know where she is currently signed, but they were going in the schools, and that's up to the police chief. And they are paying it. We don't have any problem with the school paying it, as far as I know. Lisa, do you know anything different?
I think Lisa dropped. I don't see her anymore.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you just follow up with her tomorrow and get back to us on Ms. Seeger. That'd be great.
Sure, no problem.
Anybody else have anything on R20, 108, and 109?
I make a motion to approve H and I.
I'll second the motion.
We need to do them one at a time.
Okay. 108.
Make a motion to approve H 108.
Second.
I have Mr. Kelly and Mr. Stalberg. Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander? Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Stalberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Packet? President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. R20, 108 carries. Can I have a motion for R20, 109?
Motion to approve 109.
Second.
Jonathan, I think. Seconding.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Stalberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. R20, 109 carries. Discussion on R20, 112.
R2112, I just wanted to know what level of improvements are we going to have on Queens Road? Are we including just the asphalt? Are we also including sidewalks and curbs?
I can answer that, Lisa. And, Allison provided me with an email that says the grant will include curbing, driveway, aprons, ADA curb, strengthening, milling, and overlay.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else has any questions on that, but I make a motion to approve it of 2112.
I'll second.
Joe, who did you have for the second?
Mary.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Stalberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. R20, 112 carries. Discussion R20, 113.
I'm just trying to get 113 up in front of me. Just 1 second.
I do have an item.
Go ahead, Doug.
Sure. And Mr. Kelly might actually have more info on this because he knows cars and stuff like that. The 1998 Yamaha dirt bike. Is that correct for $14,000?
Mr. Brooks, yes, that is correct. There are several vehicles, the dirt bike being included on this resolution, that are actually in the possession of our towing companies. So the minimum bids are set by the towing and storage fees.
22-year-old dirt bike is $14,000. Okay.
I know.
Lieutenant, can you tell them it's in the ordinance? It's required in the ordinance as the minimum bid.
Well, there's also leniency of the tow operator too to change that amount.
That was the only question I had. That seemed kind of ludicrous, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perone.
I have a couple of things that are on there. Dealing with the MVC, or DMV, as some people used to call it, dealing with titles has been somewhat of a problematic type of a situation that we've had within the township. Not just recently, but it's been going on for several years. In these cases, when the township has a vehicle that's been abandoned and the individual can't be found, there's no submission of a title. There's an application that's forwarded to the MVC, and then there's a green sheet that's given for the process to move forward to get a title. In this resolution, you have that the individual after purchase has to remove the vehicle within 10 days or the items. Being that in the past, are all of these vehicles that were impounded, that the titles weren't received by the owners, much like that Yamaha dirt bike, does the township have an actual tangible title to give to the successful bidder on the items that require a title?
Mr. Kelly, the items that are currently owned by the township need to be removed in a certain number of days. The items that are on the property or in the possession of our towing companies, they're the ones that are inevitably going to end up getting that title. Unfortunately, we cannot obtain the titles prior to the auction. The auction resolution, the affidavit of publication advertising the auction, that's all supplemental paperwork that is required to be submitted with the application for new title.
Right, and I'm glad that you said that, because that's the issue. The process happens where a green sheet is then given to the awarded winner, the bidder, and then after the receipt of the information for that, in the prior case, we still have a vehicle right now that hasn't had a title for over a year and a half, and nothing can be done with that vehicle. However, it's in the possession of the winning or successful bidder. So to remove it in 10 days, which is the process of dropping off these titles, and DMV is not open yet or having a soft opening soon, how can we achieve that? How can a person remove a
Again, as I stated, that 10-day limitation, it does not apply to the vehicles that are in the possession of the towing companies.
Okay.
I mean, I can't rush motor vehicle. I can't make them speed up their process. Unfortunately, we're at their disposal.
No, I understand that, but they don't have a title. And it's just some, other towns don't have this issue. And for those that win, that are successful bidders, it's very problematic. Removing it, the vehicle is still in the person who owned it originally's name until it's been changed over for the title. I just think that there needs to be something to explore to minimize that time and dispose of the vehicle appropriately.
Unfortunately, it's out of the township's hands. There's nothing that we can do. It's the process that's been put in place by motor vehicle. The change would need to be made on their end. It wouldn't be the township.
You get the green sheet back from the state. Whose name is it in?
The township.
Okay. But it's not titled to the township, only the documentation.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that bit.
I said not a title, but only the documentation to process the title.
It's the green sheet is the application for a new title, yes.
Okay. And it's the owner's the successful bidder's responsibility to get a title, or?
No, it's the township. The towing companies, the successful bidder, they aren't even able to file the application. It's in the township's name. The township has to file it.
So then how can the person that wins it pull the vehicle out of the impound facility or the tow vendor's facility without a title? Technically, they don't own the vehicle.
They need to wait for the application for new title to go through.
Okay. Maybe I'd like to make a motion to approve R 20-113.
So move. Motion.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett? President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. R 20-113 carries. Next item we have are appointments. We have 3 firefighters, Stephen Satz, Matthew Salazar, and Vincent Lasardi.
Make a motion to approve the 3.
Moved. So Mr. Kelly, seconded by Mr. Quinn.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Chris?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Appointments carry. Next is old business, couple things. First, I'm going to give it to the mayor to do an update on Peterson Field Rec Center if he has any, and then any COVID update. And on this section, I'm going to limit any one speaker to 3 minutes. So,
Council President Jackson? Council President Jackson? Council President Jackson?
Yes.
What I don't understand is that every time that I request to have a update to provide information, why is it always then diverted to somebody else from my request of this to have on there to speak about it?
I don't understand what your question is.
Well, the mayor didn't make a request for an update and provide an update. I made the request to provide an update with regard to the recreation center in Peterson Field. And every single time that I've written to the clerk and I've asked for this to be put on prior to the open to the public portion, so members of the public could possibly ask questions about this, and you have your right to move it wherever you want, but you also take the ability of me to talk about this from something that—
I'm taking away the ability from you to talk about this. You can talk about it in your old business report.
But this is—
And people from the public can talk about this without hearing the mayor's update. They can talk about it next meeting. So, Mr.
This is the
Mayor,
mayor's update, though. It is
Mr.
my—
Mayor, do you have an update?
I do. I just want to let everyone know that the subcommittee, Mr. Sackett, Mr. Brooks, Councilman Brooks, Council Vice President Sackett, and Councilman Quinn met. They reviewed some of the plans. They met with our engineer and our business administrator, and they're going to be bringing those plans to the entire council at some point. We know the pandemic slowed it down, and the council is going to be able to go over and make some decisions as a group, as a whole, as a council of 9, as to what they want to institute in terms of what fields they want to improve, what the progression of timing of what things, what improvements that they want to do first, and how they're going to move forward. And then at some point we're going to sit down and we're going to discuss the financial aspects of it. So that's all I can give you right now. It's in the council's hands. It's in the subcommittee's hand. They're going to set up a meeting. Some of it will be in public. I'm sure some of the financials will be in private. Those things have to be fleshed out due to bids. There's certain laws and requirements that we have to make sure that we handle gingerly, so we don't violate any rules as far as the bidding process goes. And that's all going to be worked out.
Do you have any update on COVID that you want to provide? Or?
I have questions on Peterson Field, though.
We're doing.
It's not question and answer section. Go ahead.
Tell me I have an ability to ask questions, Mr. President.
No, I said you can have ability to talk. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We've been doing well in terms of COVID. We've had no new cases over the past few weeks. The one thing that I'm proud of with all of us working together is that our businesses are starting to open up. Our outdoor restaurants people have been applying for permits, and I want to say thank you to the staff for moving those permits. It's a joint effort by the health department, by the clerk, by zoning, the inspectors, everybody's working together to get the permits approved for outdoor dining, to get the liquor licenses expanded. And that's been, if you drive around town and you go to the barn, you go to some of the other establishments, eating establishments, they're open. You see people outside enjoying themselves. And that would not be possible without the hard work and the collaboration of the staff.
Thank you.
We are flat in terms of we are
It is.
flat in terms of the, any new cases. So I think we're doing well health-wise as well.
Excellent. It is 8:10. We're going to take a quick 5-minute recess to 8:15. If everybody can mute yourselves, and we'll come back at 8:15, please.
Don't we have to vote on it?
Okay, looks like everybody's funneling back in.
Yeah.
So all the council members, is Manny back on? Manny, are you back on?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think everybody's back, Chrissy. Okay, so old business, any other old business?
Yeah, I got some old business.
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Just following up on the Peterson Field rec center update. We did have some conversation. Councilman Salberg had mentioned about getting plans together, but it would be nice to pass those plans. I've asked for them on several occasions. I've never had an opportunity to review them. I know Mr. Brooks had a plan. I did receive that. It did take a little bit to get that. Now we have another group that's doing plans. And I don't understand why there's no sharing of the plans, especially with individuals that have a background with construction and dealing with engineers and plans itself. Is there a reason why we won't pass out some of that information that is public record? Council President?
You're asking me. I don't have the plan, so I don't know.
Have you seen
It's
them?
not a question. It's not a question for me.
Have you seen the plans?
No, don't. This isn't question and answer. You're doing a report. Do your old business. Or do your
I'm doing a report. I'm actually old business, and I'm following up on that update. And
okay. So, do you have any other old business?
I do. When we talk about the economic impact that's on there, with regard to the businesses, in the last several weeks, we've had so many EOs that have come up, from EO 150 to where we're at today with EO 156 that the clerk has submitted, and of course we received it from the state. I'm really disappointed on our reaction to some of these EOs rather than being proactive like other towns are moving forward. So since these permits that we have for the outdoor dining, one, that we have information that's put on Facebook, and then when that day is over, that information becomes old news. It's not currently updated for each day that passes. Like our website, if we had it on our website page, the front page, every time you open up our website, you would see any of those updates and that information, especially with executive orders that keep coming through. With the outdoor dining, there was a notice that went out to owners from our health department, and it was CC'd to members of our administration. But it passed along the EO 150 and the health code, as well as from the ABC, but it failed to actually provide the permit. And on the permit has a different number of contact than the number that's actually in this notice. So one, I would like to have the information updated constantly on Facebook. Like Mr. Jackson, I don't believe you have a Facebook from when you mentioned last, so you wouldn't be able to go on Facebook to see these updates. And since we don't have some of that stuff on our website, it's difficult for people to know what's going on. Because I have spoken to some of the businesses and tried to assist them. The other thing is on our application for our outdoor dining, on the front page of our permit, on number 5, it says no tents. Now, the intent of the Executive Order 150 on page 9, line 12, you can't make anything stricter. And under the state's administrative code, under 523 2.14, tents are allowed. And there's no permit needed for tents unless they get over to a certain size, over 120 square feet, like the barn's got. So this application is somewhat misleading, and we're making it a little bit stricter than what those potential applicants are seeing here, because outdoor dining is really based on weather. If you don't have a tent, then it becomes very difficult. And as an individual looking at this and seeing that one section, they may, decide not to go with the outdoor dining because they can't put a tent up without even calling somebody, because it's very clear in here. So can we modify and change the permit to be accurate to reflect the EO 150 as well as the State of New Jersey's administrative code under the UCC? Mr. Perrone?
I'm not understanding what you're talking about when you say UCC, Mr. Kelly.
That's the Uniform
Uniform Construction Code. Are you talking about the 1998 code? And you'd have to be citing something from the code for me to understand what your question is.
Mr. Perone, can I just stop you there? So, Mr. Kelly, your time's up on old business. I would suggest you reach out to administration during the week, and they should be able to guide you.
I really don't get a response from that. I mean, I don't know why it's so difficult.
Does anybody else have old business? Okay, we're going to move on to new business again. 3 time limit per speaker. So does anybody have any new business?
I have new business, but you know what, Council President? We're not going to meet until the 14th of July. I think that if I would have 3 minutes graded more to each issue here, I'm trying to condense it as best I can. I've been very patient with the meeting starting very late, 10 minutes. I try to expedite everything I possibly can. I cannot condense what I need to put out there for my constituents in 3 minutes. And we don't have any code.
It's new business. It's new business.
Yes, it is new business.
Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
We're talking about a lot of these things that are coming up with these permits and whatnot, as well as everything seems to be blown up as far as a free permit. With a lot of the house sales that are coming on and up in the northern area of Rockaway Township, homes rely on septic. And with that being said, when there's a failure with a septic, there's 2 options. There's either a repair. If it's unable to be repaired, there's also replacement. Our health department has to go out and do multiple inspections for either of the 2. Doing a comparison to other towns, whether it's Jefferson, Mendon Township, Mendon Borough, we also have Chatham, and moving forward with that, in Randolph as well. How it happens, Mr. Jackson, and I'm not sure if you know anything about septics. There's a couple of components to it. One, you have a smoke log that needs to take place from the engineer, and it also needs to be witnessed by one of our health officers. After that's done, then there's a plan that's drafted from an engineer, and then that plan is submitted with an application to our health office for review and a permit to be issued. Then there's a course of inspections that take place with the construction, which is an excavation of the actual field, a backfill of the field, piping requirement of that, tank placement, any tank modification. Then there's a final grade seeding and hay. And then there's an as-built that's drawn with a review by a health official to finally receive a letter of compliance. Rockaway Township only charges $50 to do all of that. All of the other towns that we have a much larger fee associated with all of that efforts from each one of those individuals that comes out to do that. As a matter of fact, in Mendham and Chatham, there's also monies held in escrow to make sure that there's any additional review or any plans. Jefferson also charges another charge to review a plan again if it has any kind of changes in the field. I think during this time, with a lot of house sales that have been coming up, a lot of failure rates to these septics that take place, I think we need to look at some of these fees that we charge. I'm not saying doubling, because if you go to Jefferson, they're well over $300 to $400. The PACON is $150, plus the county gets involved with another $250. Mendham is $1,000 for a permit, and a full amount for the proposal has to be in escrow, which is dispersed by the officials in Mendham. We continue to give some of these things free, and it doesn't even cover the administrative costs of the multiple inspections that our department does. If you look at our construction department, the fees that are collected pay for that department to function. The water fees that we generate from our water department pay for those fees to run that department, self-generating. I know the health department is not going to be self-generating, but we do some of the health services for some of these other towns that have a greater fee for this service that they do. And I believe we need to look at that. And you know, by the next meeting, maybe have some kind of an idea of an increase for that. The other thing I have with new business is that since the parks are open, they were never technically closed by executive order 108, but we had the discretion as a municipality to close them, which we did. And then we reopened them as well as the state parks were. We have Park Lake right now that's walking around, and we have seats that are now allowed to be used, and the gazebo people are walking in. But the playground is still shut down, and I'm assuming the same over at Peterson Field. And we have one up here in Telemark, which is another playground owned by Rockaway Township from a purchase in the last couple of years. Is there a way that we can sanitize by power washing with a hot steamer, with a chemical solution, to allow the use of these areas? I mean, children need to have some kind of connection. They need to have that socialization that's taking place. I think the parents would be geared up to social distancing, and it's just an area for kids to run around and release. And I'm wondering if that's something that maybe we can look into to do. I do have that type of equipment. I'm willing to donate that service to do that at no cost to the taxpayers. I just think that we need something to progress forward and be more proactive during these times, especially to keep our children occupied and continue that social connection.
Thank you for your questions. I'll look forward to administration getting back to you on that one, and maybe Mr. Tabbitt for next meeting could provide us with some background. Does anybody else have any new business?
Yeah, Council President, I have new business.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sackett?
Just real quick.
Councilman Salberg here too. I have new business as well.
Okay, good, Mr. Sackett.
Mr. Kelly, today the governor said about the public playgrounds.
You're breaking up on me, John.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think he's saying that the governor today said the playgrounds were going to open around July 3rd. If I don't know the exact date, but they're going to be
get
open.
ready though, Mrs. Seeger, and I understand that. That's why I made that statement.
Okay. Jonathan, do you have anything else, Jonathan? Okay, Mr. Salberg?
It's a good time to talk about this. Recreational facilities are opening. Had a conversation with the town attorney about Chapter 17 of the code, specifically prohibited act. Broad blanket ban on any type of boating on any of the township-owned lakes, where they may. We have private lakes, White Meadow, Green Pond, where they can enjoy it, through kayaking, boating, and so on. And I just thought it limited the opportunities for Rockaway residents on our waters. And I'd like our council to possibly reevaluate this blanket ban and maybe consider allowing Rockaway residents, possibly with permit, to be able to kayak or rowboat on specifically Egbert's, Lake Ames, and Mount Hope. I think you could open up a lot of recreational opportunities, and again, just expand the opportunities for our residents.
Okay. Anybody else have new business? Okay, we'll go to council reports. I'm going to start, and again, let's keep a 3-minute time limit on your report. I'm going to start just in the view on my screen. So, Mr. Salberg, do you have any report?
Again, I was very happy to see that the Scouts are opening up opportunities. Looking forward to them coming down to the Party City parking lot. That range looks pretty cool. So again, just another sign of things being open for our residents again. So it's great to see.
Okay, Mr. Brooks.
I just wanted to congratulate all those who graduated these last couple of days and last week from all the schools, and everyone did a great job as far as their social learning, and hopefully looking forward to them all going back to school in the fall.
Thank you. Mr. Kritz.
Echoing what Mr. Brooks said, just fantastic job by the Board of Education this year. I have 4 kids in the school system. Couldn't be prouder of the job. The teachers came and visited the students on the last day of school, and just really show how much they care. So a special thank you to the Board of Ed. And then I've been getting some questions from a bunch of people about sports that have yet to start. And my advice to them is just remain patient. This is something that nobody planned on. Not speaking for any individual league, but they do have the best interests of the kids at heart. And just be patient and trust. The sports leaders are doing all they can to get the kids out there as best and as safe as they can. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Quinn.
Yes, the ordinance committee, as you see, has been busy. We're working on ordinances to introduce, hopefully at the next meeting with our town attorneys. We're also working on the different things we've been doing is trying to look at these ordinances and see if we can clean them up and get some updated stuff on the books, because it's been a long time since they've been done right. And Carl and John have been working on that with us, and we will continue to move forward. As far as the planning board meeting was canceled, so we did not have a meeting. The recreation board is meeting on the 30th. And the subcommittee for the Peterson Field did look at the drawings. We had some concerns. We passed it back to administration so that the concept drawings could be corrected and fixed. We have not heard back from them on that. We are awaiting that through administration to get back to us so that we can make a recommendation to move it forward to the council. Other than that, I hope everybody had a great Father's Day. I'm glad to see the outside dining is working. And everybody, please stay safe and healthy and keep the faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Miss Noon.
Yeah, just everyone, hopefully everyone had a great Father's Day and happy Father's Day to all. And continue to stay safe and be smart. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. First of all, I'm very surprised that nobody's said anything about the businesses and talked about the openings and whatnot. But anyways, I wanted to say first and foremost, I hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day, and also a lot of the mothers out there that do dual roles and also help that father end of it from them not being around for whatever reason. Just to recognize that, I do appreciate all of those moms that do that. With the reports, I see the barn has been doing a phenomenal job. I spoke to Dean directly. All of his other businesses in the other neighboring towns were up and running. And he's doing a great job that's there. I also want to mention Leslie's, the Hibernia Inn on Green Pond Road up in Hibernia, Telemark area. What Mr. Leslie is doing, he's not going to do outdoor dining. Doesn't feel that it's prudent for his business and really wants to keep the concern and safety of those. But he's doing an online cooking show where he can teach you how to cook. He's doing takeouts. The 15th, the 30th, and the 45th caller for a takeout receives a free dinner. So that's something that's interesting to go after and do. We also have Rise Up and Operation Clean still collecting funds. There was a virtual meeting on Wednesday. I was not able to attend it, but I do have a follow-up of everything that was there from the minutes that were passed along. They're still collecting money, still dispersing funds through food cards. The pantry, the food closet is doing well, trying to keep up with everything. And there are just a lot of people that are still affected and devastated financially and emotionally from this pandemic. It's been very devastating. I want to make a mention. Monday was for salons and a whole host of other barbershops and other stores to have an opening. And we have a pillar in our community in White Meadow Lake, and I'm sure anybody in the lake has been to this individual. But Ron Teruzzi from the hair shop, I've been communicating with him for the last couple of weeks.
Fucking hairdresser.
And Ron is, I'm sorry, Mr. Perron?
I said, is he a hairdresser?
He's a barbershop.
Okay.
Anyways, Mr. Teruzzi has been shut down. He's a sole proprietor by himself. He's always donated to all these good causes within the community, whether it's the Lions Club with special needs children. He's also helped out with the White Meadow Lake Fire Company for some of the things that they've done. He's created fundraisers that have generated thousands of dollars to benefit some of those areas within the township. And even during these hard times, not bringing in any income, Mr. Trezuzzi donated monies to Rise Up to help others. And even when we wanted to put together a fundraiser for him, he said, I'd rather see it to go to somebody else who'll survive. And our late mayor had done a proclamation for him back in 2013, and he's been in business for 47 years. And I just wanted to make a mention of Mr. Trezuzzi and his dedication, his support to Rockaway Township and his close community there. And that's it on that. I still want to do a reminder. I know Mr. Sackett mentioned about July 3rd for the playgrounds. I don't want to start cleaning the playgrounds on the 4th of July or the 5th. We have an opportunity of 8 business days to maybe get them prepared and maybe sanitize them. I would offer that service if it was something the town was interested in to do for nothing. And I just hope we can be a little bit more proactive. I still think we're a little late on the gun on some of these things. The EO, we waited 8 days for a resolution that wasn't necessary. Dealing with the second quarter tax grace period, we waited after close of business on the 11th day to do that. We have the third quarter coming up. We need to put things in place since we only have 2 meetings for the next 2 months. I'm tired of actually waiting for something to happen and react to it. I'd rather be more proactive towards it. Whether you like me or not, you don't have to like me to agree. Just put everything aside and let's move forward and do some great things, proactive rather than reactive. I have nothing else.
Thank you. Mr. Friedlander.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, short and sweet. Did have a WebEx meeting with the library. Just want to commend them. Rockaway Township Library was was one of the first in Morris County to open up the curbside pickup, and that's going pretty good if you check out their website. Second, I want to thank Chrissy, the clerk, for bringing up the sewer assessment committee's update. I was going to do it, and yeah, we're getting closer. So people, please be patient. It's coming.
It's been over 4 years, Mr. Freelander.
What?
Over 4 years to this month. It's been 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, Mr. Giacofano, I have invoices that go back to June of 2016 on this. 4 years and we're nowhere.
Well, 20 some odd years we're nowhere. We're getting close, Mr. Kelly.
I appreciate it.
You know, they're putting together everything in a book. Unfortunately, look what happened, and you know they're reaching out to decide if they go visual or wait for a meeting that everybody can be present. So it's closer than further away. Okay.
Yeah, it hurts us the longer it takes, though, in court.
Of course, but you know, 20 some odd years, they want to get it done right. I'm just there listening, and I'll, you know, as they speak, I'll report it.
I appreciate your service.
Okay. Just another thing, I want to commend the business administrator and the administration to reaching out to the police. If you notice, and if you drive through White Meadow Lake, there's been more speed signs up in the middle. Residents have been happy. They've seen that. Also, please reach out to the DPW. I don't know if Al is there, but my street seems to be a war zone for water main breaks. We had one this past week again, and I commend them. They do a great job in the trenches. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Friedlander.
Still stay safe.
Okay. Vice President Sackett.
Jonathan, if you want to hold on 1 second, I'm just going to mute everyone else on because for whatever reason you keep cutting out.
Okay, good, thank you. Just a couple of things real quick. Everyone hopefully should have received primary ballots, so if you receive them, make sure you fill them out and get them sent back in. As you know, vote by mail this year, so just make sure am I cutting out still? Okay, just make sure you're filling it out and send it back in. That was one of the things. Also, I want to thank the chief. There's been a lot of issues in White Lake with fireworks. A couple of residents, a bunch of residents have reached out to me and spoke to the chief about it, and there'd be patrolling the areas quite a bit more. Also, if any residents are listening, please try to report it to the police department, and if you can, that'd be better to do so. Also, I was glad actually I appointed the sewer assessment committee, because Mr. Kelly keeps saying it's been 4 years, but when he was council president, he never appointed one. So luckily I appointed it, and here we go. You had plenty of chances yourself.
You blocked it, Mr. Sackett. You blocked it.
The prior council president, you guys didn't do anything.
You
So
blocked it.
when I was council president, I appointed it. So now we're moving forward with it. So I'm glad we're doing that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make my report brief. I was able to virtually attend the Morris County School Technology graduation, the Copeland graduation, and the Morris Hills graduation. The administrations and their technology departments just did a phenomenal job, with those, and congratulations to all the graduates from those schools. And from Knowles also, I wasn't able to attend that one, but I heard it was very similar. Also, at the piggyback on what Mr. Sackett said, I believe we have boxes outside the police station, or a box outside the police station for your ballot that you could drop off there, right?
Yes, it's right outside the police department entrance.
Right. So if you don't feel comfortable mailing them, you can go to the police station and drop off your ballot. With that said, I believe the mayor had the drop. Mr. Yachvano, did you have anything you wanted to report on?
I think Mr. Yachafano has never made it to the meeting, except for that, for the closed
Okay. Did you have anything, Mr. Perone, you wanted to report?
I wanted to try to clarify something that I've been hearing relative to this, the ordinances that are being redone. Now, I know Ms. Clipperton, and I don't know the name of that company, Ms. Clipperton. There's a company that's been commissioned by the township to generally look at all the ordinances and to redo them and to update them. Is that correct?
General code, yes.
Okay, and so we are given ordinances from time to time, or subjects for ordinances from time to time, that we produce rather rapidly. For instance, the ordinance that you had this week regarding the special events, that wasn't even something that was brought up until the Boy Scouts had requested the special events. So I want you to understand that Yachvano and Perone are not in charge of changing the entire ordinance system or the entire ordinance code. But when there are subject matters that are given to us, we do in fact work on them and try to expeditiously provide them. But I can't take credit for having done that so fast, because the ordinance committee was especially responsive in this case, knowing that we were under pressure. And I'd like to thank the ordinance committee for turning around the drafts of the ordinance. And I'd like to also thank Ms. Seeger, who pointed out that there was a conflict between the recreation ordinance and the special events ordinances, which is why you have a change in a recreation and facilities ordinance. So I just wanted to clarify that, and I just wanted to mention the people that from the administration and from the council who actually made it possible to get that to you so quickly.
Thanks, Mr. Perone. Ms. Seeger, did you have anything you wanted to report on?
Yes, the mayor had to step out because it was his son's birthday tonight, and he wanted me to remind everybody that, especially anybody in the closed door, any items that came up tonight or in the closed door, please send any questions or concerns or suggestions you have for the bids to administration, and we'd be happy to accommodate them or answer you. And the second thing I have, I don't know if anybody's been around the municipal building. We finished the parking lot. We did take advantage of the COVID. It wasn't supposed to start that project till July or August when school was out, but we took advantage and moved the project up. Thanks to Allison, the police, the DPW, and everybody who helped move that project up. It is completed except for a few last minute items, and we're happy that it all got done when we had nobody around the parking lot, because that would have been a hard thing. Thank you.
Thank you. With that said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second it.
Jack and Manny, all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay.
My hand's raised.
Eight yeses, Ms. Clipperton. Meeting's adjourned. Please, restart the recording and